Most of us have been to a job fair. Human resources reps sitting at tables waiting for prospective employees to get up the courage to step up to them and convince them why they're the best person for a job with a particular company. So what if we flip that idea on its head? Meet the inaugural LISD Tech Center Reverse Job Fair. Here, the students held court with local businesses, showing off what they could do when representatives from area companies got up the courage to speak with them. The response was positive.
I like the reverse job fair because the students have all of their materials on site at their table. You can work the room much faster than having them come to you. You as the attendee, if you will, you control the time that you spend at each location, and it's a lot more efficient use of your time. When you have 50, 60 students, that's really the only way that you can cover those that you would like to meet based on their academic profile, and then you're more selective and more effective.
In my opinion, I would say it's a little more relaxed. It's a more relaxed feeling. You don't have to, it's not as built up as how it would be for an actual job interview, you know. Being in the position of where you get to present everything and they come to you, it really helps you relax and not have to worry about the stresses of whether or not you impress them to the points of where they'd hire you for a job.
Being in human resources, it's a complete change for me. So I actually like this. I like being able to have the students present what it is that they do and some of the examples of the projects that they've worked on. I think that it also gives them the opportunity to really communicate to the person that's stepping up to their table and sell themselves.
It's a little different because usually we're at the tables, we have the information ready for them, and they have the questions for us. So, you know, we're prepared to answer what they want. Here we kind of have to go up and probe them.
I think on me, it's a lot easier because then they can ask the questions they want to ask.
I have not been to a reverse job fair before, but this is very, very unique and great opportunity for the students and for the employers in the area.
Yeah, I think this is going to help me when I actually go and look for a job.
Well, I was fairly impressed with them. I think I interviewed 6 different individuals, and they were well prepared. They had some evidence of their work and their learnings, and it was a nice experience.
It's kind of like you can see other people like giving their own interviews to other people, so you kind of get a gist. It makes you like feel more comfortable and when people ask you questions also, and it's like a good opportunity for like when you ever get a real interview, it gives like extra practice. Because I'm looking for job interviews because I've never had one before, and it's kind of a requirement, but I really want to come.
Yeah, I've never been to a job fair where, you know, we walk around to the students. It's usually us with our information and they come to us if they're interested. So
I haven't participated in a normal job fair, but a reverse job fair was very different. It was unique for me being able to have the employers come up to us and talk to us.
For me, going up and talking to people, it's kind of a little scary, but like you're sitting there and people just come up to you and they start asking you questions. It's kind of like a more relaxed feeling.
It was great. I mean, talking to people actually out there in the field of something that I want to go into is actually really interesting, and I hope to actually I hope that they become more contacts that I can use outside of high school and hopefully get a job faster that way.
very comfortable. I mean, it's very important. We see people every day that we have to tell them, you know, well, don't wear this, make sure you look like this, or don't wear too much cologne, or you know, it's important. There's a lot needed in interviews.
I was a little nervous, yeah, after the first one, but after it started going, it was okay. And the questions really weren't too just ones that I wasn't expecting. I was expecting them as they were, but I think overall it was just really good.
No, I think this was well organized and well thought of. The flow was very easy to do, and it was very easy to interact with the students as well as with the instructors.
That interaction was easier and easier as the day went on, with many students establishing strong relationships with potential employers. According to local reps, these juniors and seniors made quite the impression.
Well, we look for a good, solid person, and what we're talking about is their character and their work ethic and their attendance, certainly their grades, ability to learn, and we pretty much feel that if we get the right person, a good fit for our company and a good character, that we can train them in our internal processes.
I think they're on track. all of the students that we spoke with, they were prepared with a resume, very professional looking resume. They didn't seem to have many questions about interviewing. Quite a few of them are dressed in suits, so they're very professional. Yeah, for what they're going into, I think it's a good fit. So
I look for somebody that's going to be able to really think through a project or think through a program and to be able to ask the questions so that we can make it better over and over and over again, not just the status quo. So I look for somebody that's, engaged, someone that is really wanting to grow and to be developed into the area that we're looking at right now. We're working with CNG, which is an alternative fuel, so that's one of the projects that we're looking for students here today that might be able to work with our CNG program or interested in the auto mechanic side of it.
The students here are most personable and they have a passion for what they're going into, and we can see that, and they would make great prospective employees in the near future.
They're doing an excellent job. They were dressed appropriately, they were very cordial, they were willing and open to meeting people. They shook hands, they were able to talk about their projects intelligently and to share the details about it.
Well, actually, when I was 7, I had a dream that I designed a roller coaster, and I woke up the next morning. I asked my mom what kind of a job that is, and she told me it was an architect. And throughout my years of growing up, I slowly transitioned into wanting to become an architect, and I changed my mind into becoming a civil engineer.
So the tools that they pick up in the classroom, running a lathe, running a mill, using gauges, they learn the very basics, and we take them much further over the time that we work with them. We have probably 7 or 8 employees who came up through a Career Center.
The Career Center path makes sense for employers as their future leaders learn the basic skills they need to get their foot in the door. Companies such as the ones at this reverse job fair stand to benefit from the students that figure out what they want to pursue based on their experiences at the LISD Tech Center.
I think I excel because I'm good at what I do, and I also think it's fun. Thinking about going into electrical engineering or mechanical engineering, I haven't quite decided, but I've also thought about robotics. When I first came here, I had no idea we'd be actually building a robot that works. I don't think really any other class in here builds anything that works, that's you can drive it around like a toy.
Pretty much, I'm planning on going to school for mechanical engineering. And it's kind of I like being creative, and I also like math, and then it kind of just goes together. And I also realized that there weren't very many girls who also do mechanical engineering. I would go to the ratios and stuff, and it's 1 girl for every 20 guys. At first it kind of felt I'm the only girl there. Then after getting to know everyone, it was kind of we're all on the same level. And they actually kind of ask me for help a lot sometimes too. I enjoy hanging around a bunch of guys because it gives a different perspective of things. It's fun to be able to interact with them, and then also we get to do different programs, and it's actually very fun to do, even though it looks really complex at first.
I'm a person that's been more hands-on my whole life, and I'm actually the only one in my side of the family that is really a hands-on kind of person. And I was deciding in between diesel mechanic and welding, and I decided that I would stick with welding once I got accepted in the class, started taking it, and noticed that welding was something that I was really interested in. It was just something that I can do pretty well. 3rd in the local level for welding competition as a first-year welder, and then 4th at states.
I would actually probably go back to building a roller coaster. Go to Cedar Point at least once a year. It's my favorite. And all these roller coasters there, and I'm like, man, I could come up with something better than that.
So let's let the creative minds of the next generation run wild. It will give them the chance to make a great impression on their first employers. These students will one day help take those companies into the future in new and dynamic directions, ahead of the curve, instead of trying to play catch-up.
I think this type of life experience is very, very important for students, and I think that it gives them a step up compared to a lot of people. That interpersonal skills and the ability to relate to somebody and answer a question is very important in the interview process.
Well, I think it works both ways. Once we get in an interview process, we're kind of laid back on that, and we let them go where they want to go with it, and then we have a few questions, but it's a good process.
Well, I'll tell you what, these kids here today were outstanding. what they've done down here to prepare these kids for the workplace is really exceptional. I have just started this training academy to deal with the issue of lack of high-tech skilled labor. So my training academy curriculum is developed based on the premise that people can come into my environment and know nearly nothing, and I can teach them and train them. What has happened here today is these kids here already have the foundation skills that I'm looking for. Now I can take them into my world and give them advanced training specific to what we do, and I don't have to go through that 3 to 6 month learning curve. So it's awesome.